5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so everybody knows about St. Patrick's Day, but many people do not know the origin of this beloved holiday. Among many other misconceptions, St. Patrick was not actually Irish. He was from Britain and was kidnapped when he was 16. When he later escaped, he then brought Christianity back to Ireland. People now celebrate the day of his death, and as time went on, people started to exaggerate his life and things that happened in his life. And that's where a lot of tales and stories come from. Ireland has many different stories and tales that explain things and expand on their culture and origin. Ireland has an inquiring background origin, but it's important to know about different countries around the world because they are different than your own, and I'm going to inform you on Ireland's background, human rights status, sustainable development goals, and history of Ireland's castles. So, Ireland is right here. It's just pretty little. And so to start with some background, population of Ireland is 5 million, and they mostly speak Gaelic. So, the origin of Ireland is their first settlement was 10,000 years ago, 4,000 BC. Again, to reiterate, St. Patrick was kidnapped at 16 and enslaved and returned with Christianity to Ireland. And according to Britannica, Ireland's leaders have had many different titles, and political power was shared by small earldoms until the 17th century. Since 1973, they have had a prime minister. With their landforms, first landform that I'll go over is the Giant's Causeway. It is 40,000 interlocking basalt columns. It looks like this, so you can see all the columns are at different levels. It's a lot of people love to go there, and it's like a tourist attraction. It was caused by a volcanic eruption. Mountains in Ireland rise to 2,000 feet. The Shannon River is 161 miles, meaning the Atlantic. So that's some of their landforms that they have. With human rights in Ireland, the prisons fail to meet basic hygiene needs like having tampons and pads for women and enough soap for people, and fail to have clean facilities like their bathrooms and whatnot. Prisons also deal with overcrowding, so that is something that they will need to work on, and they are working on it. Moving on, there's no law that limits women and minorities to vote, which is good. And politicians who identify as ethnic or sexual minorities is disproportionate, and the amount of abuse online is far more significant for them. For the Sustainable Development Goal, I'm going to be focusing in on Goal 2, which is good health and well-being. According to Ireland's UN SDG 2019, Goal 2 is overall is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. There's 13 targets and in Goal 2, including reduce the global maternal mortality to less than 70 per 100,000 births by 2030, end epidemic of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and neglected tropical diseases, strengthen the prevention and treatment of substance abuse, and achieve universal health coverage. Starting with substance abuse, in Ireland, alcohol use is going up, which can be not good and can cause like drunk driving and drunk driving accidents, along with other things, and it can cause overall health disadvantages in Ireland. The maternal mortality, the maternal death rate in 2019 was 0, and the mortality rate nearly halved from 2008 to 2018. 165 deaths of children under 5. With the epidemics percent of people living with HIVs rose from 57% from 2010 to 2019. Tuberculosis cases dropped from 420 to 267 from 2010 to 2019. And moving on to the history of castles in Ireland. Castles are gorgeous and very old, and they look perfect. Anyways, according to Irish culture, the oldest castle dates back to 1180, constructed by Norman knight John de Courcy. And castles back then were built by the rich and powerful. Most castles were built with the same fortification, meaning they were all mostly built the same to start with, and then be modified by the owners to whatever their needs were and what they wanted. Castle designs were helpful to protect against warring enemies also. In conclusion, Ireland has an inquiring background origin. It is important to know about the world around you and have information on countries that might be different from your own. Now, I went over the background and human rights statuses of Ireland, sustainable development goals. We talked about well-being and health, and the history of Ireland's castles.